Hey guys, what's going on? Have you ever thought about becoming a residential loan officer or maybe a commercial loan officer? And if you have, is this why you're watching this video? I'm gonna guess yes. My name is Zevi. I'm an owner of a mortgage shop in Los Angeles, and I'm also the creator of the Part-Time Commercial Lender Academy, which is available for you in the description of this video. It's something that I'm very proud of. It's 10 years of my work that I packaged into a box, which is super easy to follow for anyone to be able to plug and play, learn how to originate both private and commercial loans, and then be an originator and, of course, earn lucrative commissions with it. Now, with that said, of course, it's not that simple. Now, if it was me going back 10 years, I would definitely focus on private money and commercial loans, and I'll explain to you why. It's easier to originate the business. The loan amounts are a lot greater, the commissions earned are bigger, and there's a lot more support. Now, that might surprise some of you in the sense that it might seem a little bit advanced and overwhelming. And so for somebody who is, should I go out there and go through the full journey of getting my NMLS license and learn all the Fannie and Freddie Mac guidelines so I can originate a 1 to 4 unit owner-occupied transaction? Yes, you could do that. It's a great thing to do. However, for somebody who wanted to take their career to the next level, I would say focus on private money and commercial deals simply because you don't have to do so many of them. You can have other people on your team that would help you out, such as residential loan originators who are already working with residential clients. And then basically when they see a transaction that they cannot do as a residential loan originator, then they would bring you into the picture. Now, mind you, you can't do those things as a residential originator because it's not legal. The way you actually transact as a residential loan officer is you have two ways of getting paid once you put in an application to the lender. And I say that because the money doesn't come from you. It typically comes either from a bank or from a wholesale source. And when you do that, you register a loan. And whatever it is that you disclose to the lender at that time is all that you could ever make. As a residential lender, you can get paid in two different ways. You could get paid from the borrower directly by offering your rate. You would still need to disclose your compensation up front into something called the lender's estimate. You can get paid a yield spread premium, which is a rebate directly from the lender themselves. Those would be the two ways for you to get paid. However, once you submit or register your loan and the lender's estimate goes out, it's locked and you can never change anything. If you disclose anything incorrectly in terms of fees, you're going to be responsible to pay for them. When you shift gears into commercial lending, then it's a business loan. You have the opportunity to work with whichever bank or lender or fund or investor you wish to, depending on the lending transaction. The good thing about it is that the opportunity is much greater because nothing is set in stone. And the nice thing about it is once you get your terms and you present them to your borrower and they sign your term sheet, at that point, you could actually take a milestone payment for your processing and your time. I think one of the most difficult things about the lending business in general is the fact that much like real estate, people can spend a lot of your time, and at the end of the day, they may or may not fund their loan with you. And that's a challenge. And the way you can bypass that on the commercial end is by picking up a payment as soon as somebody agrees to your terms at the beginning of the transaction. This way you get a borrower that is much more committed to the process. Now, in addition to it, once you're in the transaction, you get a commitment letter, which is similar to the conditional approval that you see on the residential side. And when you get that on this end, you can actually collect another milestone payment for processing and your time, and the lender themselves, not to waste their time, is going to want some kind of a deposit to start ordering the third-party reports, which means that at that time, your borrower is going to be fully engaged and you're going to be able to take them to the finish line a lot more likely than you would if you're working with a residential client, depending on where the business came from. Now, in my course, I also talk a lot about marketing and what would be the best way to do it. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of different ways where you could get leads, but the best way to do it is kind of like what you're doing now. You're watching me speak to you, and by doing that, I get to build my brand and my reputation with you and the trust. So when you're answering a question for somebody, as an example, in a Facebook form where somebody asks a question and like 100 other people answer, no one really knows where the answer comes from. There's no credibility. But when you watch somebody's videos and you connect with them, then there's a certain level of trust that takes place. And when that happens, then it's much easier for you to build your business on that with people that know what you're capable of and they trust your expertise to be able to bring somebody to you and say, hey, this is so-and-so, and this originator is the best, and you should trust him and you should work together with them. The likelihood of you closing the deal would be significantly higher. The reason that I thought this video would be important for somebody who's in the beginning stages of their journey is I think you should highly consider looking at private money and commercial lending as an opportunity for your career if you're simply looking to be a lender. And if you were going to get started, I would start here. And the reason I would do that again is for multiple reasons like we've discussed. One, the loans are not going to be locked in for 30 years, unlike residential lending. So you have more opportunity out here to be able to work on some of these refis that are open every 3, 5, or 7 years. You have people that you can work with in the team, like residential loan officers, that you cannot do here. You can actually pay a residential loan officer to their licensed broker shop, okay? Just like a real estate agent, you don't pay the agent, you pay the broker. But that would be legal, which would be illegal on the residential side. The size of the loans that you're going to work on here and here are going to be significantly different. As a commercial loan officer, most of the loans are going to be significantly higher, which means that even if your commission rate is the same, call it 1%, you're going to still make a lot more money on this end. Now let's talk about being geographically friendly. As a commercial lender, you can work throughout the country. As a residential loan officer, you need to get licensed throughout the country because it's attached to your NMLS. Now there are a few states that do require a license, but for the most part, commercial lending is a lot more open, way more open than residential lending would be, okay? So for all those reasons, if you wanted to learn more about this, I would highly recommend for you to check out the link in the description to the Part-Time Commercial Lender Academy, simply because I have spent a year putting this together and I know how valuable it is. I have also included all my proprietary forms that I use until today to close all of my deals. If you have any questions about any of this, because we covered a ton of ground, then please drop them in the comments below. Let me know what they are. I would love to cover them with you. I would also love to know what your takeaway is. What do you think would be a better path for you personally and why? And of course, if you like the video, then I would highly appreciate if you give it a thumbs up, simply because when you do that, the video gets pushed by the algorithm and other people like yourself who are looking for this information are able to find it, okay? Thank you for being here and watching this. If you like more videos like this, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, thanks, and I'll catch you again on my next video. Take care.